Well, out there, it's Rod at the Dragonwing Den, back again with another D&D Attack Wing game. This time, a party of bold adventurers is going to venture into the lair of three terrifying dragons, and we'll find out what happens. There were no camera errors this time, so that's good. But there were some gameplay errors, so that's bad. But we're still working on getting better. I tried to catch as many errors as I could in my voiceover, or if you catch something I didn't, go ahead and leave a comment. We're still searching for the perfect game here at the Dragonwing Den. And with that said, let's look at the lists. So knowing I was facing dragons, the first thing I thought of when I started building my list was how am I going to deal with all of those breath weapons that are going to be coming in. And so Nemestra is sort of pretty heavily built up to work on that. I gave her the Pearl of Power to give her a net extra spell slot, and so she's got Suggestion and Confusion, both attack suppression control abilities. Disintegrate as her big attack, and Eldritch Blast as a little 2 dice penetrating attack that does not disable. I was thinking sometimes with Nemestra you're in a situation where you need to be able to attack, but your Disintegrate is disabled. I don't know, and I gave her the Staff of Power, which enables a pretty interesting combo where she can do Confusion as an action, as her action, suppress one character's attacking ability, and on the same turn she can disable the Staff of Power to do Suggestion or Disintegrate. So you get either suppress or suppress attack in one turn. Giant Toad just gives her a little extra forward movement. I would probably just change that to the Warhorse next time I played her. Now with the Staff of Power, you always have to be careful, because if you see an opponent with a suggestion across the table, they could use that suggestion to force you to self-destruct your Staff of Power. But I usually think it's worth it if I'm playing Nemestra. Next I've got a Talon Everhail. Many shot, precise shot, both of her sort of bow shooting abilities. Brilliant energy arrows for some penetrating damage, and cure wounds, just in case. Have a little healing in the pocket. Dragonfly the Grey, the Elven Druid, has leadership. You'll note that the only character he can use that on is Talon Everhail, but that's fine. That was sort of my plan. Have Talon use brilliant energy arrows, and then take a concentrate token from Dragonfly's leadership. Dragonfly also has Command, a good control ability, and Prayer of Healing for more healing. I'm expecting to be taking damage this game. Next on, Tharfroom the Paladin has pretty standard stuff in his challenge, enabling him to bring dragons down to his level so he can hit him with his penetrating adamantine lance. And he's also got the Sacred Plate Mail to give him some defense, and Death Ward, a little more defense, let him sort of get out of jail free one turn. Death Ward, when you take killing damage, instead you take 1 less damage. Basically, you take enough damage to almost kill you, but not actually kill you. And finally, Ulfgar's back. You may remember him not doing so well the first time I played him. I'm going to try it again, try to do a better job. He's got his Warhorse, so now he can get around a little better. He's got Helm of Leadership to give him 1 more heroic slot, so I'll take Power Attack, which is going to give him the potential with a melee attack at range 1 to convert 2 hits to crits. That could be exciting. He's got his own lance, I had 2, so he can do penetrating damage as well. He's got Armor Crystals, which make his armor unpenetratable by breath weapons, which against dragons is an obvious choice. And finally, here's the extra slot from the helm, which is challenge, so he also can bring a dragon down to melee attack them. And now let's take a look at Jay's list. And here's Jay's list. He's got 3 dragons. There's a Mogros, the red Draco Lich. It's a dragon, come on. And it's got the Fire Breath Close Quarters, pretty standard. It's got Bushwhack, which is interesting. Sort of gives it a pseudo-concentrate option, slightly better than a concentrate. And he's packing Disintegrate, the standard attack spell, and Hellish Rebuke, a counter-attack spell. Next we've got a Shadra, with Lightning Breath, also standard. System Shock, the debuff that you can do to creatures who are hit by your Lightning Breath. Jay forgot to use that in our game. And he's got Snipe, which is an interesting new spell that came with the I want to say the young blue dragon. That severely reduces an opponent's defense dice when you shoot them at range 3 or 4. It's a one-shot discard, but it can be very powerful against characters with high defense and not much armor. Cloud Kill is an area effect spell that hits people on the ground, and also good against people with high defense dice because it attacks you in the end phase and doesn't give you a defense roll. And Command, just like it's in my list, it's a spell that lets you take control of the opponent's maneuver dial. And then we have Balagos, Fire Breath, also standard, Searing Flames, Evil Sorcerer, Dimension Door, and Fireball. I think Jay misunderstood how Evil Sorcerer works a little bit. It's not super effective in this build. I mean, you would run it with haste or something like that usually. I mean, it does give Balagos an extra spell slot, so if you do want to have 2 spells on Balagos for whatever reason, that is an option. But those are the lists, and let's go ahead and go to the gameplay. So here we are at game start, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the moves. With the Ranger going 3 forward, and looking through the cards, we have so many cards. Putting a time token on Brilliant Energy Arrows. And we've got Balagos moving. Sneaking forward a little bit. It looks like he is. Where's that action for him? He's gonna do a dodge. Pretty conservative. There's the token for Brilliant Arrows, Energy Arrows. Dragonfly moving up. She's gonna leadership, or he's gonna leadership Talon Everhail to give Talon a concentrate token. It's coming down in a little bit. There's the disable on leadership. The concentrate, and I may have forgotten to do an action for the druid himself, or I think I'm going to remember here real quick and I'm going to put a dodge token on that druid. There it is, and Ashadra moving pretty aggressively forward. I believe she's going to go ahead and take a target token, targeting to the Ranger. That helps me too. Now I know that range is there. Paladin moving forward, 3. It's nice to have a white 3 on your dial. And I believe he's going to charge, anticipating that will get him into range of Ashadra. And so for when he gets there, he's going to challenge Ashadra. We're going to measure that in a sec. Yep, got the challenge. Range 3, we're going to bring her down to swooping. He could have landed if he wanted to, but I've never actually seen anyone land in response to a challenge. I guess only if you were planning to land anyway would you do that. Ulfgar moving forward with, obviously he only has a 2 on his dial, but he uses his Warhorse to increase his speed to 3. I am pretty much sold on Warhorse for Ulfgar after, if you saw our game, game 1, I had some speed trouble with him. There's a charge token is what that is on Ulfgar. And finally we're going to move Nemestra forward just forward 2. I think I thought for a little bit about using the giant toad to get farther out there, but decided I didn't really want to. Didn't see any need to possibly end up within range of Fire Breath from Balagos. Although I doubt I would have in reality. And that's a dodge for Nemestra. Now we're going to go ahead and have Mogros coming in on a slant there. Down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see our custom initiative token. And Mogros took a dodge. And we're just figuring out who can actually attack this turn. Well, we've got some charges to resolve. I believe yeah, it looks like I'm deciding not to take that charge, since after all that would just potentially put me in range to be fire breathed. But we are going to take this this charge with Ontharr Froom. And he's going to measure, see if his lance can reach a Shadra, and it can. So let's roll 4 dice. 3 primary weapon value plus 1 for the charge. And we're only getting one hit on those dice, so what I'm going to do is use his ability, take an exhaustion token, and re-roll the entire attack roll. Try to get a little more juice out of this. And I do get two hits out of that. Blank on her defense roll, so 2 hits on a Shadra. And we're skipping ahead to a Shadra's roll. She's going to bite the Paladin. She's got 1 hit, spending the target token. That's it's only going to be 1 hit, so the Paladin's armor will absorb that. And we'll move down to only other attack on the table is Talon Everhail shooting her bow at a Shadra. And we've got 3 dice. The Shadra is going to have an extra defense die from her special ability, but Talon has precise shot, so she will not get the range 4 defense die. That's 3 hits. Great roll, and we're we had a dodge and a blank on the second die roll, which there's a little cut there because I actually had to remind Jay about the second die. Looks like we're going back to dials, round 2. So Talon Everhail, the Ranger, is coming in for more shots on that side of the field. And she gets to keep her Concentrate token from her special ability. And I'm, for her action, I am placing the Brilliant Energy Arrows token again, which is a gameplay error. There's an illegal move because Brilliant Energy Arrows should discard after you use it. We'll talk about the ramifications of that later in the game, but I don't think it's ultimately going to be too bad, and I'll explain why I think that as we go along. Balagos still creeping forward a little bit at a time, but he is going to Dimension Door and teleport behind Nemestra and Dragonfly. Took me by surprise for some reason. I saw the spell on the table, but I just wasn't thinking about it. But there's not really much you can do about it. He can't attack this turn. I put that little token there to remind both of us. But unless you counterspell the Dimension Door, you can't really do much about that. Usually you're just you just have to deal with it. So now we're moving to Shadra. We are the initiative token is supposed to be facing me this round. I think last round it was supposed to be facing Jay, but Jay moved it. We had some confusion about which way it was supposed to be facing, but it was supposed to be facing him last round, and it's facing me this round. And a Shadra coming in pretty close to the Ranger and taking a target token. She could have flown over the Ranger, but she's happy where she is. We've got the Paladin. He is doing a soft one to clear the exhaustion, and activating Death Ward as his action. Always a good idea when you're going to try to solo an enormous undead dragon. We'll move on to Ulfgar. Coming in here, I was thinking that he was going to be in a position to get a melee attack on. That was Jay looking at Death Ward. I was thinking he was going to be in a position to get a melee attack on Balagos from here, but Balagos teleported, so nope. And we're going to take a target token. Going to end up shooting our crossbow at a Shadra. Here goes Nemestra. I just realized I didn't do Dragonfly in the right order. Forgot to mention that earlier. Dragonfly should have gone right after the Ranger. But don't worry, I'll remember him before the turn is over. But Nemestra is, I think I flipped over 2 forward. I went ahead and used her Giant Toad to hop 4 forward, thinking I need to get as much space between me and Balagos as possible, because I'm gonna want to turn around to be able to cast a spell on him next turn, and I don't want to not go far enough and have him just be able to fly over me next turn and be in my rear arc. So that's why I try to go as far as possible. And then Dragonfly is gonna move here. And I believe take a Concentrate, thinking that we're going to potentially cast Command on Ishadra. So Dragonfly out of order. Now we're doing Mogros. And he's just going to come up here and face off with the Paladin. Now, I missed the chance earlier for the Paladin to challenge Mogros, which is what I should have done. And that's going to be a kind of painful. Who knows? But now we've got Mogros doing his Fire Breath. Obviously, he's targeting targets on the ground, so he's going to get the Paladin, and he's going to get the Ranger, Talon Everhail. Just like saying Talon Everhail for some reason. It's got a nice ring to it. Here's a roll on the Paladin, I believe. And pretty bad roll. I think that's only 1 hit. A couple of eyeballs over there. We're going to target token that. We're going to remember to put a target token out, then use it. It's a little backseat I gave Jay there. And that was ended up being 2 hits. Santhar Froom rolled 1 dodge, so he took the other hit. And the roll on Talon Everhail is much more dangerous. 2 hits and a crit. We dodged 1 of the hits, but we're taking a hit and a crit on Talon Everhail. There's the hit on the Paladin. And the crit on Talon Everhail is shattered, which doesn't do anything to her because she does not have any armor. Armor value 0. So now we're moving down, and Nemestra has no attack. We're just looking for attacks. I'm realizing the Paladin has no attack because of me forgetting to challenge Mogros, and so Ulfgar is going to shoot his crossbow at Ishadra. And we're targeting that. We've got 1 hit. We end up with a hit and a crit. And defense die is not really necessary because that crit is going to get through. Actually, that was range 3, so he should have been rolling 2 defense dice with a Shadra's special ability, which we seem to sometimes remember and sometimes forget. It's tough to keep track of everything in this game. Shadra is doing her lightning breaths, trying to make sure she gets all 3 of those characters. She does have lethal damage from that crit, which was shattered, by the way. There's a lot of shattered going around right now. And checking range. Shader, of course, has Snipe on her, and she would really prefer to use that on Nemestra, but it's only range 2 to Nemestra, so she won't get the chance to use it on her. But we're doing the Ranger first, and that is a hit. I think it's hitting the crit. Or just a, no, yeah, it ended up just being a crit. But extra damage from crushed, but it doesn't matter because the Ranger only has 3 hit points. She was dead anyway. Now we're rolling for Nemestra, I believe. And we've got 2 hits. Or no, that was 1 hit. We re-roll everything, end up with 2 hits. And we've got nothing on the dice, but we'll take that dodge token and put 1 damage card on Nemestra. And finally rolling on Ulfgar. Remembering to add an extra die for a Shader's special ability. And we're coming up with 3 hits. Of course, Ulfgar has armor crystals on his armor, so he gets to block 2 of those hits. And I should clarify, Shader did use a snipe on Ulfgar, so he did not get to roll a defense die. So now we're doing Talon Everhail. She's gonna shoot her bow at Mogros, since Shader is already dead. We skipped the Druid. I'll get to tell you about the Druid in a minute. That's two hits penetrating damage on Mogros, which shouldn't be there. But I will tell you at the end of the game why I think the game would almost certainly have played out the same way, despite those 2 hits. And I mean, I think you'll probably agree with me that there was an over 90% chance that the game would have played out the same way. So, certainly some margin for error. Dragonfly, incidentally, I had tried to cast Command on a Shadra, and then Jay reminded me that she was dead already. And I got kind of flummoxed and just forgot to do anything at all with Dragonfly. And just skipped, he could have shot his bow. Skipped that. And here, of course, Balagos has had a little tumble here and knocked some pieces out of the way, but I think we're going to do all right. Balagos is not going to fly over. He's going to stay right there, hoping to gobble the Druid up in his maw. He's not, I think that's a target token. He's not, what am I trying to say? Not swooping, though, so I guess he's going to try to breathe fire. Druid is going to do a hard 1, and he will flip Prayer of Healing to pull the damage off Nemestra. Now, Prayer of Healing can heal up to 2 damage, so theoretically that's a little loss of efficiency, but it's going to turn out to be worth it. Losing that damage will be a lifesaver in the future of this game. Go over to the Paladin, and he is going to do a 3 just to try to get clear of this situation. And little trick here, we're gonna place a marker, move Mogros out of the way so the Paladin can just come in there and do his move legally, and then we put Mogros back. So now we're going to be moving on to Ulfgar. Move, did a backup 1, used the Warhorse to increase his speed to 2, so did a backup 2. The Warhorse can increase your speed no matter what maneuver you do, so that's a pretty handy ability. Of course, still gets exhausted. And we'll do Nemestra. And so as foreseen, she is going to do her 2 turnaround. She's the white turnaround, so she can turn around and still do an action, which is great. And in this case, her action is going to be to cast Confusion, put that on Balagos. I don't have the token, forgot to punch it out, but that's going to reduce his, and he is within range 3, it's going to reduce his primary weapon value to 3, which is half of 5 for the duration of the spell, so that's 2 turns. And we're going to go ahead to Mogros. So now he's coming in this way. Okay, yeah, no, he's doing a turnaround to chase this paladin. I kind of wonder if Jay would feel like that was a bad strategy decision. Feels like Mogros really should have stayed with just heading towards my main group of 3 characters and letting the paladin sort of bumble his way back into the fight by himself. Anyway, it looks like we're no attack on Mogros, no attack on Nemestra, so we're having the dwarf tried to measure for a crossbow shot at Mogros, but he was out of range 3. So we're just doing, we're all the way down to Balagos, and he's doing his breath weapon at the druid with, I believe, 1 crit. Target token for just 1 crit, and we're going to dodge that. And move into round 4 with Balagos flying past the druid, doing some fancy finger work to try to get these characters placed legally. Can be tricky sometimes. There we go. It's taking a charge token. More about that in a little bit. Flipping the druid's dial. And the druid is gonna, he's coming in here, get right up in Balagos's sort of blank spot there, and he's going to take a concentrate token because now I definitely have a good target for command. So we're going to see that happening. The paladin is going to walk to the side here. It would have been more efficient for him to turn around, but I was feeling like I had to preserve my ability to do an action to keep this death ward going. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. So now we're doing Ulfgar again. And he's going to... searching for a template there. He's going to do this maneuver. Soft 2 still gets to clear the stress because he did plan a green maneuver on his dial, even though he increased his speed with the warhorse. And Ulfgar is taking a charge token, and he challenged Mogros, which is kind of strictly an error. He should have challenged Balagos. I just had a lapse in judgment there. Nemestra is also coming in here, and she's going to be taking a target token, but it's going to be hidden, like Nemestra herself, behind Balagos's big flappy wing. Hard to predict when that's going to happen when you're actually playing the game. Hard to tell what the camera is actually seeing, that is. And Mogros moving a little bit forward here. His action is going to be Bushwhack, kind of like a concentrate, but it lets him turn one of his eyeballs to a crit instead of a hit. That gives, a lot of evil dragons don't actually have the concentrate on their action bar, so that gives them another option there. Just checking the text on that. And checking range. Oh, he was thinking he was going to get close quarters, but he's actually out of range for close quarters. So he's just doing the bite. And we've got 2 hits, a crit, and an eyeball that's going to convert to a crit. My Sacred Plate Mail, though, is going to convert that right back to a hit instead of a crit. Now we're going to roll a defense die blank, but Plate Mail is going to block 2 of those dice. We're going to take a hit and a crit. The crit is shattered. Like I said, a lot of those shattered criticals going around. Um, so we're going to actually have to put armor tokens on the board so I can shatter one of them. We've been getting kind of lazy with the armor tokens. We should probably put them out. And critical effect tokens. That really does help sometimes to remember what's going on the board. When you play the same person week in and week out, after a while you develop these habits. Nemestra is disintegrating, and that is a hit and 5 eyeballs, and I've got a target token on her. I disabled the Staff of Power instead of spending the token, but so we've got a hit and a crit, and I was so flustered that I forgot I could have converted one of those eyeballs for another hit. Hit and a crit on Balagos. It's going to be shattered for the record. Everyone's getting shattered today, but you technically you can, if you have the Staff of Power, you can take a concentrate token, use the Staff of Power, disable it to cast your Disintegrate, and then you can concentrate any eyeballs you roll on the Disintegrate. But I took a target token instead of a concentrate out of instinct, but I don't know, it might, in the long run, sometimes might be better to concentrate. Ulfgar is trying to decide whether to charge or not, and I think that's right. He couldn't get into range. Balagos is still flying. He is going to. He shot his crossbow at Balagos, though. Since he's within range 1 of Balagos, he got to convert that one of his 2 hits to a crit. So he's just doing a crit on Balagos, and it's going to be, I believe, staggered. All hard turns become red. Whatever the all hard turns become red maneuvers is. And that, I believe, was, so we did no attack on Thar, and now we're putting those time tokens on command. So Dragonfly did cast command on Balagos this turn. So I'm going to get to program his maneuver for next turn. And we're doing Balagos himself. At this point, we had a couple of had a few glitches due to the fact that Jay had misunderstood how Evil Sorcerer worked. So what I ended up doing was letting him sort of turn back time a little. That's odd. I thought I had cut out all of this stuff, but I guess I left it in. All right. Well, I'm gonna end. Okay, what's going to happen? I'm gonna end up letting him just. We're talking about how that Evil Sorcerer works right now. It gives you a free action to do the action text on a spell, not an attack. So he just got confused about how that worked. But he's trying to cast Fireball and drop a Fireball right there on the ground to get Nemestra and Dragonfly. I let him change the charge to a concentrate token so that Balagos himself could spend it to cast the Fireball. And so we're going to make sure that Ulfgar is not in the Fireball radius. And it's going to be 3 dice. I think he's doing the Druid first. And that's one hit on the Druid, and I believe we got a dodge on there. Or no, we took a damage. We took that damage. 3 dice against Nemestra, and it's 3 hits. Potentially pretty painful, but 3 dodges. 1 die went off the screen, but there it is, 3 dodges. So clean getaway for Nemestra. And with Balagos done, I think we're going to go ahead and go back to dials. There we go, that random exhaustion token. So I'm doing Balagos' dial for him, obviously, and I gave him a hard 3, put an exhaustion token on him, and basically get him where I wanted him so that my little party there can keep following him, keep throwing attacks at him. sure what we're... Oh yeah, he was asking if he got to choose his altitude. And he does, so he chose to swoop. The druid just backed up and bumped into Ulfgar there. Takes a target token. He's pretty much used both of his spells, so he's going to be shooting his bow from here on out. Ontharr Froom completes his 2-turn whip around there. And looks like a dodge token. He has been on the defensive this whole game, except for that early heroic charge on a Shadra. Ulfgar making a few decisions there to Warhorse or not to Warhorse. We decided to just do the 2, and it's already swooping. Yep. So looking at our cards, I think I decided to take a target. Yeah, target. In theory, a charge wouldn't have been horrible. I could have gotten within range 1 of Balagos and potentially been able to do 2 hit to crit conversions. Of course, I would be rolling 5 dice without a chance to re-roll any of them. Nemestra's coming in. And she's going to take a target token. I think we're thinking about doing suggestion this turn. And now here comes Magros, going to try to stay in the game with a turnaround. Yep. Still swooping. And he's going to take an exhaustion token. Right, Jay? Exhaustion, there it is. But it's going to turn out that he did not quite plant himself in a place where he could attack Ontharr. So we're going to go over to Nemestra. And she is going to go ahead and spend that target token to cast Suggestion on Balagos. Jay commented that he was actually pretty lucky that Balagos had a time token still on his Fire Breath, because otherwise I could have had him use his Fire Breath on Magros when his turn came up, potentially. Going down to Ulfgar. We're going to do the Lance. We're within range 2, and Balagos is swooping. I think he anticipated being able to get a tail attack, but due to suggestion, he's not going to be able to. And here's the roll on that. Yeah, that's 4 eyeballs. So this game made sort of a pretty strong experiential case for concentrate over target. In any case, I rolled 2 hits there. What am I doing? Oh yeah, I was trying to measure to see if I could get 2 hit crit conversions, but no, just the 1 hit crit conversion. So hitting a crit. Balagos is gonna take. Well, he's gonna get a defense die. I'm telling Jay about the power attack Ulfgar combo here. So now I'm telling him to roll his defense die. It's a blank, so he's taking the hit and the crit. And the crit is going to be stunned. Balagos can't attack. That's the crit you want to get unless it's happening to you. It does kind of make my suggestion redundant. Still think the suggestion was basically the right play, though. Other choice was Eldritch Blast. Could have gotten. We're measuring for Dragonfly's bow attack. We're going to roll both dice. Target, pick up both dice. But Jay points out that Balagos has a shattered critical on him. So if I get 2 hits, it's still going to potentially do enough damage to kill Balagos if he doesn't get a dodge. But he does get a dodge. So dodge 1 hit, armor blocks the other hit, and Balagos lives to fly another day. And we're going to go ahead and head into the next round. So Balagos creeps forward a little here, and he's going to land. Should have taken one of those time tokens off the stun crit there. That's okay. Now, suggestion still is on Balagos, so I'm going to get to choose his action. And I'm going to have him take a target token, which he can't do anything with, obviously. And we're about to move Dragonfly here. He's chasing down Balagos just like they all are with his little bow. Have a target token, Dragonfly. Move on to our Froom next. There we go. Turning in at long last, joining the fray. It's been a long detour for Onthar. And Death Ward again. Still does not want to get killed by this Mogros. Ulfgar coming in. Following Balagos to deal the death blow there. And it looks like we're popping a concentrate token on Ulfgar. Don't want to get burned again by those eyeballs. And we're going to move into Mestrin next. I think she did a 2, and we're hopping with our giant toad to a 4. My thought here, I think, was just to try to get as close in to Mogros as possible in the hopes that he would end up having to fly over Balagos, and then the Messer would not be in range of a nasty fire breath, for example. But we'll see how that goes. And Mogros finally going to slide forward a little. We were discussing this yesterday. Told me he actually had Balagos land so that Mogros would reserve the option of flying over him. But in this case, since I moved up instead of back, he decided to just go ahead and bump so he could fire breath the whole field. Including Balagos, denying me the glory of killing him. So we're gonna roll Zune Fire Breath. We're gonna roll the damage on Thar. He measured it. I cut a little footage, I think, or maybe he didn't need it. Anyway, damage on Thar. It's on Thar. Sorry, it's 3 hits, and that's just going to trigger Death Ward. So, right, so there it is. That's going to go away, and Anthar will live another turn. I believe he's rolling Nemestra. Yep, pointing to her. Looks like 2 hits. Is that 2 hits and a crit, or just 2 hits? I can't tell if that's a crit or an eyeball. And I forget exactly what happened. Well, there's this target. I think that's a crit. Roll this target token. So we got the 2 hits in the crit. We're going to dodge 1 hit, take a hit in the crit. I believe the crit is panicked, so that's going to subtract 1 from her attack and defense. And that was on Ulfgar, pretty much getting nothing. And I think in a sec here, he's going to remember he needs to roll against Balagos. And that roll is a hit and a crit and an eyeball. He forgot that he's doing Fire Breath, and Balagos would auto defend the hit, and he could roll a defense die for Balagos to try to also defend against the crit. And he didn't put the damage cards down, but we know that Balagos is dead. So now we've got Ulfgar, crossbow attack at Mogros. We've got a hit and a crit, and concentrate, 3 hits and a crit, but Mogros has 3 armor, so it actually doesn't matter at all. It's just a crit. To be exact, it's crushed, and so he's going to roll a die, but no extra damage, just the crushed. Even though that concentrate didn't really do anything for me, it was still gratifying to be sort of rewarded by choosing concentrate, by getting some eyeballs. And he's going to try for a hellish rebuke, but in fact, we're going to look at the card real quick, and he can't actually do a hellish rebuke without spending a target token, and he already spent his target token. That restriction feels kind of onerous to me, but I guess taking it out might make it an auto include, and that wouldn't really be good for the game, so I don't think. And a little confusion here since there's a target token sitting there, but that's the token I gave to Balagos using my suggestion. And Dragonfly is going to shoot his bow at Mogros. I don't think he had range. Looks like not, and we're going to pull Balagos. We are... Oh yeah, he was thinking Balagos would get an attack, but obviously still stunned, so no. So the Druid will back up, getting ready for Mogros to come this way. Looks like a target again. Onthar, I believe, is pivoting, and I'm going to try to find a little straight edge here. So what I was hoping there was that flipping his base, because they're a little narrower than they are long, would change his silhouette, so it would sort of clear the footprint of Mogros' base, so Mogros wouldn't be able to choose to bump him if there was an overlap. But it's didn't happen that way, and it turns out to not really be relevant anyway. And Nemestra doing her white turnaround and taking a target token, getting ready for her disintegrate, which she re-enabled last turn. And Mogros turning around, still concentrating on that paladin, or possibly Nemestra, but he's not going to have range to Nemestra this turn. So he's going to go ahead and attack the paladin. See that in a little. Yeah, he's swooping. The paladin with a bite, and of course we're done with Death Ward. So, and we've got a shatter, so this could kill. He's rolling 5 dice. He should actually be rolling 6 dice for the pivot. That's another roll that's difficult for us to remember. It looks like it's a hit crit. Yeah, Sacred Plate Mail, but it doesn't really matter. Because of that Shatter crit, I have to take that. I have to take 1 damage off that roll. And he's going to think about whether he wants to take a damage to insta-kill my Paladin. I think it's worth it. You could reasonably expect the Paladin to do two damage. Good chance of doing 2 damage with his lance. So take 1 damage to instantly kill him using Mogra's special ability. And now it's Disintegrate time for Nemestra. We're going to go ahead and measure, make sure we've got that range. We do. And here comes the roll. 3 hits and an eyeball, and I am going to remember to convert that eyeball for 4 hits, killing damage, or is it? As you'll remember, 2 of those cards should not be there, so Mulgrew should actually only be on 6 damage after that Disintegrate. Now, however, Ulfgar is going to get a lance attack on him right after that Disintegrate goes. And Ulfgar has, according to my calculations, a 93-point-something% chance of killing Maugros with his lance attack. So I'm going to go ahead and call that game 93.6% pure, I guess. But if Jay wants a rematch, that's perfectly reasonable. We could both certainly play it tighter. Jay could pick some different upgrades, not the Sorcerer for Balagos, and it'd certainly be worth revisiting and trying to play a tighter game.